You're listening to the Cyberwire Network, powered by N2K.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to N2K Cyberwire's Hacking Humans podcast, where each week we look behind the social engineering scams, phishing schemes, and criminal exploits that are making headlines and taking a heavy toll on organizations around the world. I'm Dave Bittner, and joining me is Joe Kerrigan. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Dave.
And our N2K colleague and host of the T-Minus Space Daily podcast, Maria Bermazis. Maria.
Hi, Dave, and hi, Joe.
We got some quick follow-up here. Joe, what do you got?
13 chickens, Dave.
Congratulations.
You got 13 chickens? You have 13
You've got a
chickens.
baker's dozen of chickens.
Yep. One of them is a rooster, so he's very small
then you
right
just
now
got a dozen.
and very adorable.
Uh-huh.
And
They're always cute when they're small.
yes.
Is it long for this world, or what
I
are you
hope
going to
so.
do with
And they
it?
grow up and they
Okay.
start crowing and they start waking you up in the morning. But go on, Joe. I don't want to hijack your story.
No, I just...
How did you come to have 13 chickens?
Well, my daughter is the person who's housing them right now. We're actually building a chicken coop over at her place. I was working on it last night as we record this. So the chickens are actually inside her house right now. She went and got 4 of them at a Tractor Supply company. And then last week went over and picked up another, 9 at some place across the Bay Bridge, so on the Eastern Shore.
Okay.
And they are all Wyandotte chickens. Wyandotte, I don't know.
What does that mean?
That's just the breed of egg-laying chicken that they are.
Okay, so
And-
these are for eggs.
Right, these are egg chickens, and they are apparently very beautiful when they get bigger. I mean, they all look like little puffballs right now.
Yeah.
But they, we have 13 of them, and they're running around in a little closed-in pen in my daughter's basement right now
Okay.
with a heat lamp and an artificial hen that they can sit under and be warm.
An artificial hen?
It's like,
What does that look like?
it is just
I'm
like a
Googling that.
big orange rectangle.
It seems like something that I don't want to Google.
Yeah. You can
Oh, well, I
Google
just
chick
did.
warmer. Oh, wait, don't Google chick
Chick
warmer.
warmer. Yeah.
Artificial rooster, artificial hen.
Artificial hen. It's just a big orange thing that has 4 legs on it, and it sits up off the wood chips that are in the pen. And the chicks love being under it because it emits heat and it keeps
Okay.
them warm. And that's why I call it artificial hen.
So the plan here is that ultimately you're going to have an unlimited supply of eggs. Is that right?
That's the plan.
You're going to be, so every week you're going to come in here with a dozen eggs for me? Is that my future, Joe?
Yes, maybe. Either that or I'm going to really acquire an affinity for hard-boiled eggs.
Right, exactly.
Nom, nom, nom.
I ate 12 eggs today. Had to eat them because there'll be 12 more tomorrow.
Right. So what happens with the rooster then? I mean, when you have laying hens, do you have to keep the rooster away from them, or?
That's a good question. I thought you did, but you can just grab the eggs quickly. So you have to go out there 2 or 3 times a day and grab the eggs and bring them in. So we'll do that once in the morning, once in the evening. It should be fine. If we want to have more chicks, we just don't grab the eggs. And
Oh,
then
I see.
all of a sudden we have more chicks.
Right. Okay. So the whether or not the eggs are fertilized does not affect their ability to be eaten.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. If you grab them early.
Oh, okay.
If you do not let them sit around for half a week or something, and but you grab them early, put them inside. You don't need to refrigerate them or anything. I don't think. I'll let you know when I find out, Dave. This is all
You're gonna
new
open your-
territory for Joe. So
Well, I think we're going to hear from probably some experienced chicken farmers.
I would
in
like
our
to-
I have a
audience.
feeling.
I would
Yes.
love to know
So-
any advice anybody has about my family, my chickens.
Attention, Joe.
Attention, Joe.
That or a good recipe for a coq au vin is in your future. I'm just saying.
Coq au vin.
My grandfather had some chickens for a while, but they all got eaten by foxes.
Yeah, that's one of our big concerns because there are foxes, coyotes, and hawks up where we live.
Right.
And I actually heard a coyote out in I was out looking at the stars because I do that. I'm a nerd. And I was listening. There was an owl, a horned owl, a great horned owl. And then I heard a single coyote. And I know this was coyote because this is exactly what a pack of coyotes sounds like when I was down in Texas. I could hear packs of coyotes, but this was just one animal making the same noise.
Yeah, we've got coyotes around here now.
Yep, it is. I don't know what I'm going to do about that, Dave. Probably nothing.
Well, my wife and I said we were careful with our dog because you've met my little dog, Misty.
Yes.
She's only about 10 pounds.
Yeah, very little dog.
She's a very little dog. And we can't let her out on our deck by herself.
Because of the hawks?
Well, we have bald eagles.
Bald eagles.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So
They will snatch a dog. It's true.
Yeah.
she's within the zone
Yeah.
for a bald eagle. So we're going to let her
You
out
could
there
get-
by herself.
Misty, one of those hazing vests, the ones with the big spikes on them. Have you seen those?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw someone
look
walking,
fabulous.
a neighbor walking their little dog with one of those. And I'm thinking, it's one of those things where you're thinking, there's a story here,
Right.
but
yeah.
I'm not going to ask. I am not going to ask.
That's not happening to me again.
Right. Yeah. It's not something you go out and purchase for your little dog without there having been something happening. So
Yeah.
I didn't want to re-traumatize the nice young lady who was walking the dog, but I thought to myself, this isn't just an expression of how punk this dog is.
Right. The mohawk.
It looks like
Multicolored
Kerry
mohawk
King's
on your
wrist from Slayer in
Right.
the 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
The nails all hammered
Exactly.
through. Right.
All right. Well, join us next week for Poultry Corner with
Yes.
Joe and Dave and Maria. And we will be right back after this message from our show sponsor. And now, a few thoughts from our sponsors at ThreatLocker. The tactics used by cyber criminals are becoming more and more advanced every day. The shift from a default allow approach to a default deny is more critical than ever. This is where ThreatLocker comes in. Stay tuned for how ThreatLocker allow listing and ring fencing has your back. All right, we are back. And Joe, why don't you kick things off for us?
I have a story from Thomas Claiborne over at El Reg. That's what those of us in the know call the Register.
Okay.
Right? But this is a story kind of related to AI hallucinations.
Uh-huh.
So are you familiar with the concept? It's basically AI tells you something that isn't true or references something that doesn't exist.
Can I insert a little
I would.
fact here?
Love for you to insert a fact.
So I read an article recently from neuroscientists, and they are making a case that what AI does should not be referred to as hallucinations.
Okay.
They should be referred to as confabulations.
Confabulations.
Yes.
Okay.
Why?
Well, my understanding of this is incomplete at best, but I think hallucinations come out of nowhere, out of whole cloth, and confabulations are based on a set of pre-existing facts.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, that sort of tracks. What imaginations? Imaginings? Okay. Confabulation. All right.
Anyway,
Okay.
go on, Joe.
For the purposes here, we'll continue to call them AI hallucinations.
Yeah.
Just because that's the term of art, and maybe confabulation is a better term. I would probably lean towards that. Anyway, this article in the Register quotes Firas Abu-Khadeji, who is the CEO of the security firm Socket. And from now on, I'm just going to refer to him as Firas.
Okay.
But he says, we're seeing a real shift in how developers write code, with AI tools becoming the default assistant for many. Vibe coding is what's happening constantly. Now, have you heard this term vibe coding before?
I have, yes.
Yes.
I have not. This is a new one to me because I haven't done a lot of development recently,
Uh-huh.
which makes me sad. But vibe coding this is from Wikipedia. Vibe coding is an AI-dependent programming technique where the person describes a problem in a few sentences as a prompt to a large language model tuned for coding. The LLM then generates the software, shifting the programmer's role from manual coding to guiding, testing, and refining AI-generated source code.
Yeah.
All right, well, this is great because you can really improve the productivity of a coder, right,
Mhm.
of a software developer. But Firas goes on to say developers prompt the AI to copy the suggestion and move on, or worse, the AI agent just goes ahead and installs the recommended packages itself, which is probably a bad idea.
Well, back up here for folks who aren't developers. What are we talking about when we say packages?
Excellent question. I made an assumption that everybody would have the same life experience as I have, but they don't. It's a common experience, error on my part. So here's how this works. You have packet. Let's use Python as an example, because Python, they're actually called packages, I believe.
And not the snake, the programming language.
The programming language, correct.
Gotta really back up here, dude.
Right. So there's a programming language out there called Python. And in fact, if you want to start learning how to program, I usually recommend people start with Python because it's a very easy language to understand and read. And it's not a compiled language, it's an interpreted language, but it is still a good programming language and is very popular out there. There is a huge community for it. So if there's a functionality that you'd like to reuse over and over and over again, someone will develop what's called a package for it. And you can even develop a package for it. Now, some of these packages are written in Python, some are written in C++, so that they run faster, but they're out there and they provide functionality that you don't have to develop.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the whole idea of software dependencies comes in. And this is one of the reasons we've been hearing so much about SBOMs, software bill of materials.
Yeah.
Is because if I include a package, I might just include that package, but that package may also include other packages that are called dependencies. And if I'm in my Python environment and I tell the pip, which is the Python package manager, go out and get me package X. If package X has dependency of package Y, it will also get me package Y. It'll install it.
Right.
Okay.
So let me just interject here. So
Yes.
the notion is let's say I'm developing a website where I want to sell my widgets.
Right.
And I don't want to reinvent the wheel when it comes to taking credit cards.
Correct.
So I can go out and get a pre-existing package, let's call it, that will do that for me, and I can just plug it in, and that functionality will be taken care of for me, and I didn't have to do the programming myself.
Correct.
Is that a good example?
That's a good example. There's even more basic example in that could apply to that use case. There's a one out there called Django, which is a great web development framework. So let's say you want people to log into your website. You don't have to write that. You can just call the Django functionality for creating and working with users.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of administrative overhead if you have to sit down and write that. Well, Django just includes it.
Okay.
And you're up and running. All you have to do is call the right library calls.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so we have two things going on here. We have all these different packages out there, and we have developers using AI to write their code. And then we have AI maybe hallucinating. And the bad guys have figured out that AIs hallucinate and that coder is going to vibe.
Yeah.
Right? So what Feross is pointing to here is that there is a growing concern that he has, and he's even seen it, where somebody has looked at the AI hallucinations and said, oh, this AI has come up with a package name that doesn't exist. Somebody else is going to try this. I'm going to go out and write that package. And that package is going to be malicious.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay?
Right.
So
Yep.
So the developer now goes to the IDE or it goes to the AI. They tell the AI what they want. The AI generates some code for them. They copy and paste that into their integrated development environment. That's what IDE stands for.
IDE. Yep.
And normally the code would just fail because it's calling a library that doesn't exist. But if the AI agent installs a library that exists, it could be a malicious library.
So the AI agent makes up the name of a library.
Right.
It hallucinates the name of a library.
Hallucinates the name of a library.
The bad guys know that this is a commonly hallucinated name.
Correct.
So they go and create that library and put it in the usual places where people go looking for libraries.
Yes, places like GitHub.
So the innocent user,
Programmer,
takes this code that the AI has given them and trusts that the dependencies that it's calling on are legit.
Right.
And they may not be.
Yeah.
Yes.
They may, in fact, be malicious.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe a more experienced programmer would know to check that kind of thing. But a lot of people are looking at AI to go, I don't know how to code, but I can get AI to do it for me. And they're not going to know to even think of this kind of thing.
I overheard a conversation in my office a couple of weeks ago where a guy was just talking about something he wanted to do, but he had never done any real programming before. He wanted to build something like a CRM. So I don't know why he was doing it.
But notoriously easy. Yeah. I mean, CRM,
right, yeah.
being extremely sarcastic, just in case people don't know, CRMs are a nightmare. Yeah, okay.
Joe, I just figured I'd wanted to solve nuclear fusion.
Yeah, seriously.
Not doesn't seem like anybody's gotten around to that, and I think AI is probably going to be my pathway to doing that.
Well, this guy was saying
he sat down. You just prompt engineer it well, Dave. You can fix anything. Yeah.
He sat down and within like a day of working with the AI, had something serviceable that he thought was good enough. I mean, this was not a complex customer relationship manager. It was just probably for him to keep track of
customer relationship management, not content. Okay, all right, never mind.
Yeah,
but still,
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. CRMs can mean lots of things.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, CRM, not CMS. Right. So, what Feroce says is even worse is when you Google some of these slop squatted, by the way, that's a great name for this, slop squatted packages, you'll often get an AI-generated summary from Google itself, confidently praising the package. This is a direct quote, saying that it's useful, stable, and well-maintained. But what the Google AI is doing is looking at the README file in the GitHub package, which says this package is useful and maintained and safe. So
it's slop all the way down.
It's slop all the way down, right. There's no skepticism. There's no context. To a developer in a rush, it can give the false, to a developer in a rush, it can give the false sense of security, legitimacy.
Oh, man.
It's theology.
Right. Exactly. That's a good way to call it. It's theology.
Wow. So what for our listeners, what's the concern here?
What is the concern? The concern is that, if they're ever going to get into developing programming languages or developing in a programming language, make sure that you're using a programming language that, I don't even know what to tell you here. I mean, you really got to be vigilant. You're going to have to be knowledgeable about things. You're going to have to do the investigation of all the libraries that your code calls. For the average user, there's really not much going on here. This is more of a social engineering attack against people who write code.
Yeah.
I think it's a very creative attack, but it's got a specific audience. So, it's not something you need your mom to worry about here.
No.
Unless she's a
if
programmer.
someone is saying, hey, I've been trying out, I've never coded before, and now I'm a coding machine thanks to AI, maybe let them know.
Yes.
Just in case.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, I've sat down and prompted AI to write some code for me before. It comes up with some pretty good code pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah. There's no question it's usable, or I'd say it is a useful tool. But as you say, don't be overconfident in it.
you need to know what you're doing. You need to know about the library. So if it includes a library like Pandas, right, or NumPy, those are good libraries.
I'll take your word for it.
But if it includes a library like Crazy Uncle Joe's library to calculate IP addresses or something like that.
Right.
Who knows what that's going to do?
Yeah.
So this sort of means that you have the experience to discern, which means you're probably more senior, or you're taking the time to look this up, which means you're not in a rush, which is usually not what applies to people who are using these tools.
Yes, absolutely
so
not.
This is great.
Yeah.
This is
so you don't know what you don't know
this.
kind of thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, it's interesting. We'll have a link to that story in the show notes. I'm going to go next here, and I wanted to kind of put a bow on all of the stories about toll road scams that we've been seeing here.
Are we never going to talk about them again?
Well, that's my intention.
Okay.
That's my desire.
Sorry.
It is my true hope. And thanks to everybody who has sent in their experiences, their screen grabs of toll road scams. You can stop now. We've seen them all.
We've got so many.
Yeah. And again, I love it when people send stuff into us. We're good on this one, though. But the way I want to put a button on this is a serious cybersecurity research team, the folks over at Cisco Talos, have done an investigation of these toll road they call them smishing scams. I know that's your favorite term, Joe, smishing.
Yeah, it's a terrible term.
Yeah.
So they dug into this, and the Talos team certainly highly respected when it comes to cybersecurity investigations. So what their research showed is that this has been going on since October of last year, targeting folks in the U.S. who are toll road users. And they impersonate toll services like EasyPass, and they send messages to people claiming that they owe some money, usually small amounts, and they're threatening late fees to try to get people to act quickly. And then the victims are sent to spoofed websites which mimic the legitimate toll service portals. And these sites have fake CAPTCHAs, and they'll show the fake bills, and they want people to provide their personal and financial information, so their names, addresses, phone numbers, and, of course, their credit card information. Now, Cisco found, the Talos team found that this campaign was taking place in at least 8 different states: Washington, Florida, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Texas, Ohio, Illinois, and Kansas. Maria, you want to add Massachusetts to that list?
Might as well. Throw it in.
And this was from the state abbreviations that they saw in some of the fraudulent domains that had been spun up. So they attribute this to or actually multiple financially motivated actors, and they're using a kit developed by someone named Wang Daoyu. This kit has been linked to the Smishing Triad, which is a cybercrime group that are known for targeting various sectors like postal and financial services. So this kit is distributed through a Telegram channel. Evidently, this channel has over 4,400 subscribers, and it offers up phishing modules for specific toll systems. And like they mention Massachusetts Easy Drive MA and the North Texas Toll Authority. So you can buy a kit that is tuned for the area that you want to cover. They think that the campaign might be using data from large public leaks like the 2024 National Public Data Leak, but Talos hasn't found any direct evidence for that. It also relies on typo-squatted domains, which were registered from late last year through early this year. So the domains look like legitimate domains, but they're not. But it's just ongoing. And I think what's made this so ubiquitous is, number one, it's successful. Number two, it doesn't require much on the part of the folks who are doing this, because they can just buy a kit to go after whoever they're after, and people respond to it. I also think it's what I categorize as nuisance malware. Right? If somebody takes you for $5 or $10, chances are you're not going to go to the ends of the earth, and chances are law enforcement's not going to go to the ends of the earth to try to track down someone who's doing this sort of thing.
Right.
You're not turning people's lives upside down with a fake toll scam. But we'll see. I mean, it could be that if it gets big enough, then you get tracked, law enforcement, the FBI, those kind of folks who might try to go after the masterminds of this sort of thing. So I thought it was interesting to see that someone as legit as Cisco Talos found this to be annoying and present enough to actually take their time to dig into it. And I thought it might be nice for our audience to hear what they discovered. So
Wang Daoyu sounds like a real name.
Wang Daoyu?
Yeah. It sounds like a Korean name.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. Don't know.
I think it's interesting that Telegram is being used for this too. Isn't that all these kits always tend to be through Telegram? That seems to be the vector for that. Go figure. I mean, it's just always interesting to me. Yeah.
It is. Because it's a allegedly end-to-end encrypted chat service. But when you get groups, I don't know how. I think it works differently. I don't know.
Yeah.
Geez, it comes up a lot, doesn't it?
It does.
I got a letter in the mail from the Massachusetts pay-by-plate, Easy Pass, whatever. And I really had to pause and think for a second. Did they start doing by mail scams now? Like, is this for real? I've gotten so many of the fishy text messages that I really had to stop and think about it.
Yeah, good.
So, well,
that's probably good.
Well, yeah, it is good. Yes, it is. But it's just really made me think. Yeah.
It's good, but at the same time, it's like a time tax.
Right.
You know?
It's wasting brain power.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will have a link to that blog post from Cisco Talos in the show notes, so do check that out. Tell you what, let's take a quick break before we get to Maria's story here. We will be right back after we hear a message from our show sponsor. So let's return to our sponsor, ThreatLocker. ThreatLocker is a zero-trust endpoint protection platform that strengthens your infrastructure from the ground up. Where traditional cybersecurity tools require you to create a list of things you don't want to run, ThreatLocker enables you to easily curate an allow list of everything you need in your environment and network, and block everything else by default. With ThreatLocker allow listing and ring fencing, you gain a more secure approach to blocking exploits of known and unknown vulnerabilities. ThreatLocker provides zero-trust control at the kernel level that enables you to allow everything you need and block everything else, including ransomware. The ThreatLocker Zero Trust Endpoint Protection Platform deploys in a learning mode that analyzes the operations of your company using machine learning to assist you in developing your allow list for approved applications, what they can do on the endpoint, what can interact with your data, and even east and west network traffic. We thank ThreatLocker for sponsoring our show. And we are back. Maria, what do you have for us this week?
I have a story from the BBC. This is about a scam that's going on in the UK, but it's sort of speaking of law enforcement not doing something about a $5 scam. Maybe £1,000. Is that worth doing something about? I don't know. Apparently, maybe not. Probably not. But it can still devastate somebody who's the victim, of course, of a scam that takes that much money or more. So this scam is kind of old school. I think this is what caught my attention about this story. So the BBC profiles at the beginning a gentleman named Anthony Rudd, who's a mechanic, who was selling about £1,000 worth of power tools from his own business. He's a small business mechanic owner. And so he posted the tools on social media saying, these are my used tools. You want to buy them? And a scammer responded to his post on the social media marketplace. And they arranged an in-person meetup, which is the best practice that is often said. Don't, just do these kinds of transactions anonymously online. Go in person and meet the person you're selling for. So that's exactly what he did. And he met the person who was pretending to buy the tools from him, and they shook hands and they spoke. The scammer even paid for these tools, paid the £1,000 as agreed, and showed Anthony his banking app showing that he had sent the money. And he even handed his phone over to Anthony saying, here, you can put your account details into my phone so I can make sure that the money gets to you. And a payment successful message popped up on the app's screen. And Anthony figured, all is well. I've been paid. We're good to go here. And then they both walked away and went home. And then not long later, Anthony realized that money never made it to him, even though he put his information in the banking app that he was very familiar with. It looked all legitimate. So what happened here was essentially these scammers who are doing these kinds of in-person scam have a lookalike app that they have downloaded, not off the Google Play Store or whatever. It's not a legitimate app that you can get anymore, but you can find it if you're looking for it. And this app looks exactly like a lot of commonly used UK banking apps where you can do these kinds of transactions. So they've got that lookalike, and the apps work just like the real apps do. So they can show up to these in-person meetups with their victims for real goods and have the victims type their own information in the app. So it all seems above board and they get that payment successful message. And because, you shook hands with these guys, they actually seem like they're discerning whether or not your goods are worth them buying. Nobody's hackles are up. Nobody's thinking I should wait and look on my own phone to see if that money went through. They're just sort of trusting that that app looks real. It says payment successful. It must be legitimate. So it's really unfortunate. And as I said, it's a kind of old school scam, but it's got a new school twist with the fake apps. And in the case of Anthony Rudd, the mechanic, the police said they could not identify any suspects. So the case is stalled and basically dead. And he was so devastated by this scam of people showing up to his place of business and buying from him that he actually quit his job. It just destroyed his trust in people. And he said, I found it absolutely sickening that you could look someone in the eye, shake their hand, and then rob them. He came into my workplace and took my tools. It angered me so much that someone could be so brazen, but it's also embarrassing that I allowed this to happen. So that's what he told the BBC, which I really felt that. And the BBC was profiling a number of people that this had happened to. So it wasn't just this one gentleman. There was another man named John Reddick, who, again, he posted real goods to sell on a social media marketplace, in this case, a gold bracelet worth around £2,000. And he was selling it to finance a vacation to Spain with his kids. And so he advertised this gold bracelet for sale on social media. Two gentlemen showed up to his house for the transaction. And, they looked at the bracelet and they put the whole song and dance on about, do we want to buy this? Do we not? Okay, yes, we do. And they did the same exact scam of, we're going to use the banking app that we all use, and we're going to put the payment information. You can do that part, hit payment complete, we're good to go. And now Mr. Reddick is out of the gold bracelet, and he never received his £2,000. So, yeah. Apparently, Action Fraud in the UK says in the last 3 years, there's been at least 500 reports of this exact scam happening. And again, the fake apps are no longer on Google Play, but you can find them directly online. And they are right now specifically imitating UK banking apps with fake balances, transfer screens, and confirmation methods. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see this proliferate to other types of apps soon. So no, and also I should note, they didn't say in the BBC article which social media platforms are being used to perpetuate this scam, but we could probably guess. So yeah,
the usual suspect.
The usual suspects. Yeah.
Interesting to say that it's all only with face-to-face transactions.
Yeah, it's a shame that the police haven't been able to book anybody.
It seems like a very high touch scam that they would go through all this much trouble for, a social media scam to actually show up to someone's house in person. They could be on camera or whatever, and it's so brazen, they just don't seem to care because it seems to be working. So
it's also interesting to me that they're getting goods, rather than just scamming someone out of money. Because then they have to turn around and fence this stuff. The tools or I guess gold is probably maybe easier. I don't know, but
pretty
still,
much fungible, right?
It's takes some extra effort.
Yeah, it sure does. I guess maybe that lowers people's guards because they're thinking the same thing. Like, it's not like it's cash. It's just a thing. Who cares?
Yeah.
So that might be why people aren't as diligent about making sure that they're checking their own phones to make sure that money has gotten in.
I'm very concerned about two people showing up to look at a bracelet. That actually has safety concerns for me. Like,
at his home.
Okay, I'm not putting my banking information into your banking app. I don't know what that banking app is. Maybe then you get beat up and they just steal the thing anyway, right? That's my concern. You're dealing with criminals, right?
They're
not. I know we have a thing here local to you and I, Joe, and this is all over, where the local police stations will have spots out front of the police station for these sorts of transactions.
Right.
So you can say to somebody, meet me at the police station and we'll do it there. I don't know that would save you in this particular case, but it might give them pause and it'll probably prevent you from getting knocked on the head.
Yes. Also, that's a good point. But also, while you're there, I know the one over here in Howard County in Columbia, there is a square painted on the ground that is designated for those exchanges, and that square is surveyed by cameras.
Oh.
So they have footage of what goes on in there.
Right. And if it goes bad, a giant safe falls out of the sky onto that square. There's a big, you look up, there's a rope, and a fraying rope with a big safe on it. And,
so bring your slide whistle.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that might deter some folks, I would imagine, but if you're being really brazen, again, if the police, are they going to go after somebody who's done something like this? They're pretty busy. I don't know. You might be hedging your bets a little bit on that.
The other thing that strikes me is that, like, I think perhaps there's a perception that doing money transfers with large amounts like this, £2,000, that you're safer doing it electronically rather than handing over or accepting cash from someone.
Yeah.
Again, that someone's going to knock you over the head, take the bracelet and the cash, right? This way, you're just getting an electronic transfer. Nobody's carrying around a big wad of cash. and maybe it's safer, but I have to wonder I'm curious what the two of you think. Is it a better plan to say to someone, cash only?
Yeah. I don't know. I tend to think it is. I tend to think it's better to say cash only, meet in a public place.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you bring the cash, I'll bring the object, and you can see it and take it or not, and we'll go about our separate ways. I think that's better. I don't know.
You.
For me, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
For me. Would I want my wife doing that? No. No, I would not.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not doing that in a million years. I'm
Right.
5'1". No, I'm not. I'm not doing that.
Right. Well, and so
I
there
get
you
nervous
go.
carrying more than $40 on my person, Joe. I'm not.
Yeah.
$1,000. Absolutely not. Yeah, I would personally rather do something through an app, but again, in my case, I would have my own phone out and verify through an app that I know and trust that that money has been received before I release the goods. But
Right.
I can understand the social pressures of, especially if two men are showing up at your house.
Yeah.
You may want to just kind of get this transaction over with and have them go along their merry way. So there's a lot of social trust going on here and exploitation. This struck me as so old school. I never would have thought this be happening right now, but perhaps everything old is new again, and maybe this is more expedient than Viagra pill scams.
Well, we're hearing lots of things about like people saying, "Hey, can I make a quick phone call on your phone? Emergency." And they've trained themselves to be extraordinarily fast at finding any bank apps you have on your phone, and they can just, zip, 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 and they've emptied your bank account without you even realizing it, because you think that they're just making a phone call. So, never hand your phone over to anybody.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's just too risky these days. Say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Yeah. All right, we will have a link to that story in the show notes, and of course, we would love to hear from you. If there's something you'd like us to consider for the show, you can email us at hackinghumans@n2k.com. Joe, Maria, it is time to move on to our catch of the day.
Dave, our catch of the day is a smishing attempt.
Okay.
It comes from a listener named
you said
John. I did say it.
Yeah.
It's actually looks like it actually comes via email to a text message.
Yeah.
I like this one, Dave. I like this catch a lot. I like it. It tickles me.
Well, this is claiming to come from a female representative. So, Maria, do you want to do the honors here?
I'd be delighted.
Go for it.
Hello, I'm Lena, a recruiting representative at Adjust, in parentheses for some reason.
Right.
Your resume has been recommended by several online recruitment companies, and we'd like to offer you a remote position. This flexible role involves assisting Adjust merchants with data updates, visibility, and bookings. We provide free training. You can work 60 to 90 minutes daily and earn $200 to $500 per day. Dang, really? Wow. The base salary is $800 for every 4 days worked, with a 5-day paid probation period. Afterward, you can sign a contract with a base salary of $5,000. Wait, really? Plus a performance bonus of $1,000 to $3,000. We also offer a paid annual maternity and paternity leave. If you would like to participate, please send a message to this number. Here's a whole number. Note, you must be at least 18 years old. We look forward to your response.
So
we're very impressed by you. Are you over 18?
Right. My favorite part of this is that this is obviously some kit for a job scam that somebody bought, and they just said, all right, I got it. I'm going to start sending out text messages right now, and didn't bother editing the text that clearly says adjust.
Yeah.
Adjust.
Yeah, it says adjust in parentheses, like, hey, dum-dum, this is the part you're supposed to replace.
Right.
Right.
Would you like to work at Lorem Ipsum?
Yeah, right.
Oh, my God.
Right. No, that's a good one.
I'm going to start a company called Lorem Ipsum.
Lorem Ipsum.
Yeah, that reminds me of the guy who registered donot-reply.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless it.
All right. Well, thank you, John, for sending that in. We do appreciate it. And once again, please send us your catch of the days. It's hackinghumans@n2k.com. And of course, we want to thank this week's sponsor, ThreatLocker. Go to threatlocker.com/HH and check out their Zero Trust Endpoint Protection Platform. That's the words threat and locker with no space.com/HH, where you can request a demo and neutralize the threat of malware running on your devices. That is Hacking Humans, brought to you by N2K Cyberwire. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing world of cybersecurity. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your favorite podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to hackinghumans@n2k.com. This episode is produced by Liz Stokes. Our executive producer is Jennifer Eiben. We're mixed by Elliot Peltzman and Trey Hester. Peter Kilpie is our publisher. I'm Dave Bittner.
I'm Joe Kerrigan.
And I'm Maria Farmazis.
Thanks for listening.